Have you ever paused, just for a moment, and realized that your life is slipping quietly through your fingers? Imagine this. Every morning, you wake up to the sound of your alarm, your mind already racing with a checklist that never seems to end. You rush through the motions, ticking off tasks, answering emails, attending meetings, handling family obligations. And by the time night falls, you're too exhausted to even remember what you did for yourself. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly you can't recall the last time you truly lived for yourself, not just for your responsibilities. There's a haunting truth that most people never speak out loud. We are not really living, we're merely surviving, trapped in an endless cycle of must-dos and should-haves. Deep down, you may sense that something is terribly wrong, that you're running on autopilot, losing touch with your dreams, your passions, even your sense of self. The scariest part isn't the busyness. It's the slow, silent erosion of your spirit, the quiet resignation that whispers, "This is just how life is." But what if I told you that this is a lie? That time is not your enemy, but a resource you can reclaim if you dare to break the cycle. What if, hidden beneath the surface of your daily routine, there was a secret to bending time in your favor, to transforming your evenings from a void of exhaustion into a wellspring of energy and purpose? Most people never discover this secret. They let their evenings slip away, believing that rest is all they deserve after a long day, never realizing the immense potential that lies in those quiet hours. But you, right now, have a choice. You can keep following the script, or you can rewrite your story. And the first step is recognizing that your time belongs to you, not to your schedule. If anything in these words resonates with you, if you've ever felt the quiet ache of wasted potential, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Your support is what keeps me creating videos that might just change the way you live your life. Before we move on, I have a question for you. If you had only one free evening this week, would you choose to relax and recharge? A. Or would you use it to pursue a personal goal that matters deeply to you? B. Comment your answer, A or B, below. Your choice could reveal more about you than you think. One of the most profound turning points in my life came when I realized a truth that few people ever truly grasp. Our emotions and our actions do not have to walk hand in hand. For so long, I let my evenings be dictated by the whims of my mood. If I felt tired, I convinced myself it was impossible to do anything meaningful. If I felt stressed, I surrendered to distraction, telling myself I'd try again tomorrow. If boredom crept in, I numbed myself with endless scrolling, as if that could fill the emptiness. Night after night, my actions were nothing more than a reflection of my fleeting feelings, and I became a prisoner of my own emotional weather. But what if we could reprogram this default setting? What if, instead of letting our moods decide our fate, we taught ourselves to act regardless of how we feel? This is not about denying your exhaustion or pretending stress doesn't exist. It's about acknowledging those feelings, but choosing to move forward anyway. Imagine telling yourself, yes, I'm tired, but I can still take a small step toward my goal and rest afterward. Each time you act in spite of your mood, you are building a library of evidence that you are stronger than your impulses, more resilient than your excuses. Little by little, you chip away at the walls of procrastination and laziness that have silently boxed you in. Over time, something remarkable happens. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. The act of showing up, even when your motivation is nowhere to be found, becomes a quiet form of self-respect. You begin to trust yourself, not because you always feel inspired, but because you know you are capable of action, even on the hardest days. This shift is subtle, almost invisible at first, but it is the foundation upon which true change is built. When you stop letting your emotions dictate your evenings, you reclaim your power. The hours after sunset are no longer surrendered to fatigue or apathy. They become a canvas for your intentions. You realize that discipline is not a punishment, but a gift you give to your future self, a promise that no matter what the day throws at you, you will show up for your own life. And in that promise, you find a freedom that motivation alone could never offer. The way we perceive and allocate our time shapes the entire architecture of our lives. Yet most of us move through our days without ever truly questioning where our hours are spent. If you pause and look closely, you'll see that your time is quietly divided into three distinct realms: the essential tasks that keep life running, the moments of leisure that bring color and connection, and the precious hours invested in your future, those rare opportunities to learn, to grow, and to build something lasting. The tragedy is that, for many, the first category swallows everything else. The daily grind of chores, errands, and endless obligations consumes the very energy that could be fueling your dreams. But there is another way, a more intentional, almost artful approach to time management that can transform your evenings from a blur of busyness into a source of renewal and progress. It begins by recognizing that basic tasks, though necessary, do not deserve to dominate your life. Instead of scattering them throughout the week, gather them into a single, focused block of time. Imagine dedicating one evening to household chores, meal prep, and paperwork, so that the rest of your nights are liberated for higher pursuits. By batching these tasks, you not only become more efficient, but you also free your mind from the relentless mental clutter that comes from unfinished business. The next step is to harness the power of tools and technology that can act as silent partners in your quest for more meaningful time. A well-chosen productivity app can bring clarity to your priorities, helping you track tasks and deadlines without the weight of constant worry. AI-driven writing tools and automated systems can handle routine emails and documents, giving you back precious minutes that would otherwise be lost to repetition. These are not mere conveniences. They are gateways to a life where your attention is reserved for what truly matters. As you gradually reclaim your evenings, you discover a subtle but profound shift. The stress of juggling 1,000 small demands begins to fade, replaced by a sense of calm and control. You find yourself with the energy to pursue personal projects, to nurture relationships, and to invest in your own growth. In this space, freed from the tyranny of the urgent, you are finally able to shape your life with intention, making room for both joy and ambition. And in that simple act of optimization, you unlock the possibility of a future that is not just survived, but fully lived. One of the most overlooked yet transformative strategies for reclaiming your time and energy is to take conscious control over your environment and daily habits. The spaces we inhabit and the routines we follow, often unconsciously, have a profound influence on our behavior and our capacity to pursue what matters most. After a long day at work, the gravitational pull of your home can become a silent saboteur, luring you into comfort and inertia before you've had a chance to act on your true intentions. The simple act of changing your destination, even by a few blocks, can disrupt this automatic pattern. Instead of heading straight home, choose a new route. Walk into a gym, settle into a quiet corner of a cafe, or find a spot in a co-working space. This intentional redirection creates a psychological boundary between the demands of the day and the aspirations you hold for yourself, making it far easier to transition into focused, meaningful work. Equally powerful is the way you shape your mornings. The early hours, untouched by the noise and distractions that accumulate as the day unfolds, represent a rare sanctuary for clear thinking and undisturbed progress. Even 30 minutes of purposeful effort in the morning can yield the kind of deep work that is almost impossible to achieve at night, when your mind is fatigued and your willpower depleted. By reserving this sacred time for your highest priorities, whether it's learning a new skill, advancing a personal project, or simply reflecting on your goals, you set a tone of agency and intention that echoes throughout the rest of your day. The key is to design both your physical and temporal environment to support the person you want to become. Remove friction where possible. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep your workspace tidy and inviting, and minimize the cues that trigger unproductive habits. Over time, these small, deliberate adjustments accumulate into a powerful momentum. You begin to realize that motivation is not a prerequisite for action, but often its result. By making it easier to start, you make it easier to continue. In this way, you reclaim your autonomy from the invisible forces of habit and environment, and step into a life that is shaped by choice, not by chance. At the heart of any meaningful pursuit lies a simple but often neglected truth. Sustainable health is the foundation upon which all ambition is built. It is tempting, in moments of drive or urgency, to sacrifice sleep, skip meals, or push through exhaustion in the name of productivity. Yet, these shortcuts are illusions. Without a resilient body and a balanced mind, even the most carefully crafted plans will inevitably falter. True progress is not measured by how much you can squeeze into a single evening, but by the consistency and vitality you can maintain over months and years. Prioritizing your well-being is not an act of indulgence. It is an act of wisdom and self-respect. Sleep is not just a pause between days. It is a process of renewal that sharpens your focus, restores your motivation, and repairs the subtle wear and tear of daily life. When you nourish your body with wholesome food and regular movement, you are not merely preventing illness. You are cultivating the physical energy and mental clarity necessary to pursue your goals with conviction. Physical activity, in particular, is a powerful catalyst. It elevates your mood, reduces stress, and strengthens your capacity to handle challenges that arise both at work and in your personal life. Equally vital is the care you extend to your inner world. In a culture that often glorifies busyness, setting aside time for mental health can feel counterintuitive. Yet, moments of stillness, whether through meditation, reflection, or simply a quiet walk, act as anchors, bringing you back to yourself amidst the noise and demands of daily existence. These practices foster resilience, helping you navigate setbacks with grace and adapt to change without losing your sense of direction. When you treat your health as the non negotiable core of your routine, every other positive habit becomes more attainable. You find it easier to concentrate, to sustain motivation, and to persevere when progress is slow. The energy you invest in self care is repaid many times over, fueling both your evenings of focused effort and your long term aspirations. By building your life on a foundation of well being, you gain not only the stamina to chase your ambitions, but also the capacity to savor the journey, finding balance, fulfillment, and a deeper sense of happiness along the way.